Hi there. I am going to show you the astrology, some vibrational astrology today for the Mercury retrograde, which happened at 8:15 this morning, Australian Eastern Standard Time. And I'm just going to show you some vibrational astrology, which gives us a deeper look into the Mercury retrograde. So what is this about, right? The Mercury retrograde. So what I did was obviously looked at what was standing out. We have a nice Venus-Neptune conjunction, which is so high octave love, unconditional love, vibration, a lot in Aries, as you can see. I have a few asteroids in here, but the planets themselves, Mercury is stationed at 27 degrees of Aries, which happens to be bang on my ascendant and exactly square my moon. So have a look at 27 degrees where you're to focus your communication. And yesterday I was backing out of a car park at a shopping center and banged into a Mercedes at that moment when Mercury was right on my ascendant in its station. And the moon happened to have been right on my Mercury at the same time. And Jupiter was opposing Uranus. Sorry, what was it? It was in Pisces. So no, Mars is right on Jupiter. That's right. And it was opposing my own Uranus in my chart. So luckily I had a tow ball on and I hit the wheel of the Mercedes and did not damage the car other than a few scratches. So pure grace in this contact that I had with a person, a very direct contact with a person, but it had grace alongside it. And Jupiter often brings fortune to us. So Mars on Jupiter opposing my own Uranus. I was just very lucky that I didn't, have to face a insurance claim and so on and so forth. But anyway, that was my experience of this. What Mercury does is it stations, and it was bopping around my ascendant. So let's look at what it's doing for all of us. Obviously, look at this degree, because that point when it retrogrades, it's like a beginning point of the retrograde story. Now, I have noticed that in my own connections to the energy field, I've noticed a more powerful, direct, clear connection inwardly with some communication along this loving energetic line. Now, the sun happens to be the absolute midpoint of Mercury and Venus Neptune. So get into your meditations if you can. If it's anything like what I experienced, the sun is wanting to connect us to our heart center and our loving and our inner desires to dream and be connected spiritually in Pisces. That's one midpoint where the sun is midpoint between by only 5 minutes to Neptune, but obviously we drag in Venus because they're humming together at the moment. And a couple of other midpoints. The sun is between Mars. We'll get another color. The sun is between Mars and, so that's going to the sun. And the sun, as you know, is our identity, and Jupiter. So that's what's going on. So what does that mean? That's looking to expand and to take action in a direction that we truly are inspired by and feel expansive towards. And an Aries sun wants to take action. So the ruler is saying, come on, let's take action. It's in Pisces. which is the same as this Venus energy, and it's highly inspired. The other midpoint is Saturn between the moon and Jupiter. So Saturn is wanting to ground something, wanting to ground and get to the essential meaning of what's important to us. So it can strip things away, but here's Saturn. So that is the midpoint between the moon, which is our connection to the past, at the moon, and Jupiter. So Jupiter again. So this is about building something that's meaningful to us. And when Mercury goes retrograde, it wants us to take time to reflect on what we're building. Certainly with Saturn and Jupiter together, we need to be emotionally connected to it, and we need to feel like it means something to us with Saturn in the midpoint of Jupiter and the moon. So that's the strongest midpoints. So I went ahead and I looked at what the vibrations were for this, and I'll have to get rid of these lines, otherwise it's not going to look right. But just to keep those in mind, and we say what vibrations are these midpoints? So firstly, we have the sun is in between. I'll move this out of the way. The sun is in between. We only want the close ones, Mercury and Neptune. Now, that's only 5 minutes. So that's considered very close. And this is our desire to dream and to have a vision that connects us with our heart and we want to bring our vision to a present reality. And the sun is also between Mars and Jupiter by only 1 minute. So that is also fundamental. That is what we would call a big isotrap, where 5 planets are all connected to the sun. So there's a big story because Mercury is involved with creating a vision that connects us to our heart, that is beautiful, that has meaning to us, with Jupiter involved, and we want to take action on it. We make these dreams and visions a reality. The sun is very much bringing it to a reality. So that's a massive, big, what we call isotrap, which is a very powerful configuration. And then Saturn, the moon, and Jupiter are very close by only 6 minutes over here. And there's quite a few others. So at this beginning point of the retrograde, it's certainly asking us to ground a beautiful vision and to connect to our heart. And if you're anything like me, you may be sensing a lot of spirituality or finer energies becoming more real for us, to bring this healing that was activated that will be activated in the upcoming eclipse, but is active now. The sun, the North Node, and Chiron are all going to be the same degree, along with the moon, or sorry, not the North Node, but the sun, Chiron, and the moon will all be the same degree on the 9th of April, Australia time. So there's a massive concentration on us getting out of our head and our fantasy and to take action when it's Aries. And all of the configurations I just spoke about are speaking of this. So I hope that helps you to understand some of the finer things about the eclipse, well, obviously the eclipse coming up, but Mercury retrograde during the eclipse and what we're to focus on. One more thing, just to expose you to a little bit of vibrational stuff. The sun between Mars and Jupiter happens to be high in the 31st vibe. So the sun is between Mars and Jupiter, this little configuration, and in the 31st vibe. And you can, when we look at harmonic charts, we just look at the colors, and there's a massive square between the nodes, Mercury, Saturn. So this, again, all of what I've just said is confirmed. And what the 31st vibration means are those high aspirations that we have, where we walk into the unknown and we trust that it will unfold. We sit quite happily in the unknown, just trusting that in that moment of that decision that you're making is a clear and present reality for you, and it connects to your heart and your truth. So you have a clear action forward. Even Mars is at 29 degrees of Aries, but we don't read these like a normal chart. We just read where the energies are humming at that time. And there's also a strong configuration in the 25th harmonic between the Sun, Mercury, and Neptune. So the Sun is the midpoint of Mercury and Neptune, and in the 25th vibration, which is about being playful and having fun. So the universe wants us to dream again and to feel our inner sense. See all these purple lines connecting? We're really not going to make any changes unless we connect to our heart, mind, and soul. So that's where the healing will come. So have some quiet, get away from the noise, and even play peacefully on your own, doing something fun for you, which could just be playing music and dancing freely. The 25th vibration is about the ultimate in self-expression. So the Sun, Mercury, and Neptune are all talking to each other in this vibration here. I'll just show you so that you can follow me. So the Sun is the midpoint between Mercury and Neptune. So it's all about dreaming, and that's the vibration that further gives us more insights into that configuration of planets in the natal chart of the Mercury retrograde. And then the other one that I mentioned was the Saturn between the Moon and Jupiter, to connect to the essentials and the fundamentals, and that is in the 17th harmonic chart, which is about having empathy, having a connection to other people's stories. So the configuration that was strongest there was Saturn, the midpoint of Moon and Jupiter. So Saturn brings those together down here. And then we look to the other planets. So Saturn is like, don't muck with me. We want what's real. And what is real is that story, that expansion that is expressed through others and connect to others' stories. So they're sitting there, and then they connect to Chiron and Neptune. So the healing is in the connection. In the 17th vibes, all about compassion and connection. So I hope that gives you a little taste of the harmonics and how it gives us more specifics. And in summary, this current Mercury retrograde, as we go within, is a lot about connecting to your dreams. Sense what that is. It's no good in your head. It needs to come into your heart and your feeling nature. If you can feel it, you can manifest it. But that's my take on this current Mercury retrograde. Enjoy the journey.